Welcome to Hubert's Real Crime World. The quest go on for 16-year-old. I'm simply stressed over this. Her Latanya is as yet missing. She's a liar. You're very timid. We are undeniably naturally introduced to this world, expecting that our folks will guard us, love us, and trust we have splendid fates. Sadly, for Latanya Janelle Carwell, her folks had different plans. Take a grievous ride with us as we adventure down a way of parental disregard and a homicide so insidious a whole local area went into shockwave when the fact of the matter was at last uncovered. Latanya Janelle Carwell, known to her companions, family, and local area as Janelle, was brought into the world on April 17, 2001 in Palestine, Texas. An experienced childhood in the town of Augusta, Georgia. Janelle was an unimaginably clever little kid with plans to go to school for a regulation degree or medication. As one of her ministers portrayed her, Janelle was cherishing extremely savvy, shrewd young lady who needed to be a specialist, who was an honor understudy. Her uncle likewise depicted her as saying she knows how to cook, clean, all around prepped, very expressive. She was a sophomore at 2 Josie Secondary School in Augusta, Georgia, when she vanished the day preceding her 16th birthday celebration on Thursday, April 13, 2017. Janelle was going to her last day of school before Easter, end of the week. She was energized for her birthday, the impending Monday, and getting ready to celebrate with her family at a huge barbecue. She referenced to her language expressions, educator Lori Miles, and her companions that her family had plans to move out of Augusta soon, in addition to the fact that we say should the study's dearest companion. She's an instructor's closest companion. That is the point at which she let us know that not just was her birthday, coming prepared to celebrate. Yet there were a few different things that were occurring. Her instructor, Lori Miles, likewise referenced that Janelle's disposition changed before her vanishing. She moved from the front to the back, and I mean totally to the back, to where a couple of days sooner I really brought her up to the front and said, "That is not you." It's realized that when children are struggling at home, they frequently carry on at school. Rudolph Dreikers, a specialist and teacher, has recognized the 4 objectives of bad conduct as to acquire consideration. In the event that a kid isn't standing out from their folks, they will acknowledge negative consideration, assuming they get consideration. When they are in a difficult situation, they will credit it to being seen and needing a greater amount of it, perhaps. Janelle felt disregarded by her folks. 2. To have power. When youngsters have little command over a harmful climate at home, they will attack school to certainly stand out. When Janelle started carrying on it in class, this might have been an indication of her taking power back that she wasn't accomplishing at home. 3. To pursue retribution. Youngsters who are rebuffed unreasonably at home will look to incur vengeance for others to cheer themselves up. Is it conceivable that Janelle was taking out the agony that she persevered at home on her schooling? 4. To show insufficiency. In the event that kids don't feel valued, comfortable, or adored, they won't wind up feeling ever adequate and frequently pull out from circumstances. Janelle totally eliminated herself from her classes, and it was obvious something was seriously influencing her. Might any of these situations at any point connect with Janelle's unexpected lack of engagement in learning? Her home life was plainly the response. A couple of years before Janelle disappeared, her mom Tanya met Leon, a convict in prison, spending time in jail for remorselessness to youngsters, bothered attack, and other different violations. The pair composed letters to and fro and ultimately got hitched while Leon was still in prison. When he was delivered in 2015, he was paroled to Tanya's home in Augusta, Georgia. Makita K. Leon's ex made this announcement meant to concern residents about her involvement in Leon and how she cautioned Tanya of his conduct. "We was hitched from 2003 to 2009. I met him in 2000. We have 2 young ladies together. Those are the main kids he has." Tanya met him in jail, and she was completely cautioned. "I was digital followed while he was in prison until 2013. Leon had many charges from our episodes. Every one of the cases you see online are from our marriage. I sent letters to parole to forestall his delivery, yet was overlooked. I have assisted Lee as much as I with Canning. I'm just worried about finding Latania. I lived with this person for a considerable length of time. I'm just offering this one expression, I'm not on Facebook as a result of many reasons, and I'm attempting to keep my kids' security and harmony. They have experienced enough as of now. She referenced that he was a decent man, however became irate when he was smashed. He broke into a room their youngsters were resting in when she cut off their friendship, which was where the savagery to kids charge came from. Might you at any point accept a mother would bring a sentenced criminal into her home with her two youthful girls? Warnings were coming from his family starting on the evening of Janelle's 16th birthday. Her mom called to report that her better half and girl had not gotten back after they went out at 1 a.m. the earlier night. On the 911 call Tanya made, she said Tanya cases to the dispatcher. The dispatcher says, with Tanya answering with it all neither one, it appeared to be like her mom was resentful about the obscure whereabouts of her girl. She referenced to the police that her significant other got a call from a companion that their vehicle had stalled in Clark Slopes, South Carolina, around and 30 minutes northwest of Augusta. What's more, he said, I would have rather not annoyed you, so I asked my girl would she go assist me with finding Maurice. He said he had a call from a companion that was stuck on side the street in Clark Slope. She guaranteed he clearly took her telephone since he didn't have GPS on it yet. Required Janelle to go with him since he failed to see how to utilize the GPS application. Janelle's uncle Charles Carwell accepted there must be a planned circumstance that late evening, expressing it was planned. In light of the fact that this young lady disappears on her 16th birthday celebration, and how you realize she was drawn out the house, he simply doesn't agree with me. Yet he actually held out trust, expressing, I accept what is happening, where she can't get on the telephone and call uncle, mother, or some sort of relative on the grounds that at this point she would have connected. 14 days after the fact, after Janelle vanished, her mom Tanya and Minister Angela C. Hardin took to Facebook Live to produce reward cash for anybody who had significant insight into her whereabouts. Naya asserted her ailment was the explanation. She didn't oblige Leon. That evening Janelle disappeared. I truly do have disease. I have mind malignant growth, and I have cellular breakdown in the lungs. I was breathing in a lot of the smoke, so my better half advised me to go in the house and set down, so I did on the grounds that I was unable to inhale. And 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, I'm calling, messaging, nothing. Now, this is where the mother's story gets dubious. Leading, for what reason are you permitting your little girl to go out around midnight to track down your significant other's companion? In the Facebook Live video she makes reference to that her better half advised her to head inside to set down, which implies she probably been discussing Sunday the 16th. However, at that point she proceeds to say she was messaging them between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. with no response, despite the fact that she told the police they left after 12 p.m. and she told journalists ordinarily that she had spoken with the two when they were wanting to get back, assuming your girl went out late with your better half and neither of them was home the following morning. Wouldn't you have called the police before 1 April 26, 2017, Leon's white GM Sierra pickup truck was viewed as deserted along a street under a pretty far from their home on Old McDuffie Street. We processed the truck to ensure, assuming it was any follow proof, any actual proof, DNA, or anything of that nature, to give indications of a battle or something had occurred, and we found them. Acclaimed official Richard Roundtree, the Richmond Province Sheriff Police, kept looking for signs and investigated where their cells pinged that evening. Sheriff Roundtree expressed, in view of those pinnacle readings, it recommended that they went not generally in the Clarks Slope region, as Leon initially had expressed journalist Renata de Bosse, likewise guaranteed that she addressed examiners, and they told her that there was no call made that evening from the evident companion Maurice. I talked with the specialist, and he says there was no call mentioning trip assist app. Companion with a vehicle out and about in Clark Slope, Janelle was known to be very captivating via virtual entertainment. Before the few days of her vanishing, she was posting on the web, continually yet act. For the evening of the 16th, all correspondence stopped. Half a month after the truck was found, residents in Atlanta, Georgia, started bringing in sightings of Leon. He was seen at different supermarkets and, surprisingly, driving this way and that from Augusta to Atlanta at least a couple of times. Stepfather was seen in an area without the presence of the little girl. He had a relationship with people in Atlanta. He had companions. He really made a few excursions to and fro while we were effectively searching for himself and the little girl. Local area over. Flow went on as they held vigils and made search gatherings to find the missing young lady. Beam, Montana, a local area pioneer from Cicero Road Equity. A gathering of 200 to 300 workers helping eliminate wrongdoing and backing endangered people in Georgia was on Facebook Live every day. While searching for the high schooler, he coordinated a few hunt parties and referenced, it was challenging for the workers in the 100-degree climate. Many individuals rescued wound up in the clinic, and one woman needed to get a spinal tap because of parchness. Tanya kept on talking with the news, however, continually changed her anecdote about precisely what happened the night her girl vanished. Numerous hypotheses were made in regards to the whereabouts of the two, even the possibility that Leon and Janelle were engaging in extramarital relations. When this subject was raised to Janelle's mom, she had a seriously cautious reaction. Truly, he justified this beauty, and he going to take off with our little girl? Come on, well, that is idiotic. The police delivered a warrant for Leon's capture on grabbing charges on May 1, 2017. However, Tonya K. Pete on denying any prospects that her significant other had done something to her girl. Television journalist Kelly Wiley, who talked with Tanya widely, said she showed worry for her girl, and I asked her, hello, examiners accept he's taken her. She was extremely cautious. He even went on the media standing in opposition to the sheriff's office, saying that we were off base and we were erroneously denouncing. This is the man they love. This man won't hurt them. 3 weeks after Leon was supposedly found in Atlanta, police proceeded with their hunt endeavors. Lastly, tracked down him at a U-Pool capacity rental office in Atlanta, Georgia. Yet he was in good company. Police found him with his better half, Tanya. She guaranteed she was making a beeline for Atlanta to search for Janelle and wonderfully saw him out and about, so she got him and gave him a ride. Leon then guaranteed that he had really gone to Atlanta with Janelle that evening rather than Clark Slope, and gave her cash to return the transport to Augusta, and hadn't seen her since. Discussed total rubbish. The two guardians were put in jail, and Tanya was accused of impeding the trepidation of a crook. Soon after Tanya was put in prison, the police figured out that in addition to the fact that she was still in touch with her better half, she had moved to Atlanta and had been hunching down in a neglected house with him, not a long way from the supermarket. Leon was at first referred to. About 2 months into the quest for Janelle, the case formally turned into a manslaughter. The head prosecutor, Natalie Payne, told an adjudicator in court that Leon Tripp conceded she's at this point not alive anyway. Mom kept up with her story anyway. Sheriff Roundtree trusted that Tanya realized they could never find Janelle where she said they ought to search for her. He likewise declared that Tanya was lying about her cases of engaging malignant growth. He additionally said recounted an exceptionally persuading story, and many individuals went to her guide. However, it's taken us that long to strip back those layers and separate that large number of falsehoods. The local area felt deceived, and Minister Angela C. Hardin was re-talked with. She expressed she's a liar as I would see it. She told a ton of untruths. Tell where this child is. The reason. Are you hushing up? You're not going Any place you secured. On Walk 23, 2018, police declared the finish of a drawn-out look for Janelle Carwell as they got a call from a resident that was studying the foundation of an empty home in Augusta, Georgia, and found what they accepted to be human remaining parts they. Mortgage holder saw as a bone standing up from a shallow grave in the lawn of the home. Journalists, wherever reported Latonya Janelle Carwell's remaining parts were found in a shallow grave on Brilliant Camp Street. Last week, Janelle had, as of late, visited the dental specialist. Before her vanishing, so dental records gave a positive recognizable proof. The main data set free from the prosecution in regards to her last long stretches of life, where Janelle was by means and way obscure to the terrific jury, utilizing Leon's hands and different items obscure to the fabulous jury, objects which, when utilized unpalatably, brings about serious substantial injury. It was likewise noticed that her appendages were bound. Both Tonya and Leon were accused of homicide when the coroner marked. Bowen was consulted about the absence of data being given to people in general. He addressed the data we have. Some were holding the sheriff's specialty. Asked to the D. We need to do this since we would rather not mess up any equity that Janelle merits neither one of the gatherings, entered a request, and examiners kept building their cases. The lead prosecutor declared that she would go for capital punishment for Leon's situation. She likewise reported that she accepts Janelle's folks recruited a hired gunman to kill their girl in court filings. The state means to demonstrate on 3 events Tonya and Leon searched out somebody to kill Janelle, once in 2015 and 2 additional times each year after the fact in 2016. Leon's lawyers reported they would be testing the punishment and would be battling to eliminate all media from the preliminary so Leon gets a fair preliminary. Beam Montana said maybe someone they requested somebody, however it's the realities actually stay, that everything's pointing at them, and I trust that they bite the dust by the hands of the state. He likewise said when they were leading ventures close to the property where Janelle's remaining parts were found, a man came to the entryway. What's more, said, you must get off this property. I said, well, I realize you leasing this property, yet the proprietor of this property let me know that I could look through this property. He said, no, you don't need to leave the day. Beam then, at that point, went to the Richmond area sheriff specialization and enlightened them regarding the man, the property, and his presumptions about Janelle being on that property. Someplace the safeguard kept on documenting many movements, and the lead prosecutor kept on contending against everyone, at last deferring the preliminary. The protection likewise needed GPS telephone following and family interviews eliminated from proof. The lead prosecutor needed to give ways of regarding Janelle and help families by giving another feline of her canine to Richmond, Columbia, and Burke districts, a German Shepherd and Malinois blend will help missing individuals, both dead and alive. The canine's name is Dora, however. They anticipate integrating Janelle's name into it. 2 large numbers of the subtleties of this case have stayed private act, and because of the infection, many court procedures have been deferred. Sadly, Janelle's uncle Charles Carwell died before his sister was indicted, and his niece got equity. His eulogy says he withdrew his life on August 17, 2019. It very well may be proposed that the strife his family was going through may have been a justification for his passing. Yet nothing has been affirmed. In October of 2021, Leon's case was moved to another appointed authority, Daniel J. Craig, who booked a whole day to hear many forthcoming movements for the situation. Anyway, his recently relegated lawyers, the third set doled out to his case, were not prepared. His lead lawyer, Adam Levin, guaranteed he had recently gotten the case document 2 days sooner, however guaranteed that the deferral was not a safeguard strategy. The accompanying hearing date was set for December 14, 2021, where Judge Craig will set a preliminary date. Since this case is very late, we actually have such countless unanswered inquiries and considerations about it Many remarks on internet-based discussions propose the primary justification behind Janelle's demise was most likely her mom's jealousy and her stepfather's unreasonable brain. Some analysts have referenced that the rationale might be because of pregnancy or rape. Yet these thoughts presently can't seem to be demonstrated by two analysts online. Her local area still consistently holds remembrances for herself, as well as her cousin guarantees their family is as yet staggering from the delayed consequences of the little kid's passing. All through this case, the local area lifted up Janelle as she turned into their kid. We should always remember the everyday routine that Janelle Lee experienced and recall youthful casualties, such as herself. As per her eulogy, Janelle has numerous relatives who keep her memory alive, including her sister Tunisia Carwell and her more distant family of granddad, aunties, uncles, and cousins. This case appears to be very miserable when there are still such countless unanswered inquiries. What do you think the Guardian's thought process is? Really and will occur with the preliminaries, now that all that's been postponed for such a long time? Let us in on your thought process in the remarks, and remember to click that warning ringer like the Vidi.